This is a Harpoon active radar anti-ship missile. Designed by McDonnell Douglas in the early 1970s, now merged with Boeing, this missile is in service with militaries around the world such as the United States, Japan, the United Kingdom, and many more. It's designed so well that some outside nations have even copied it. I'm looking at you, Russia, with your AS-20 kayak. Welcome to Scenario Fulfillment. I'm Dash89er, and today we'll be looking at the American-made all-weather Harpoon anti-ship missile. The missile was intended to only be launched from aircraft like the P-3 Orion and A-4 Skyhawk. But later it was also designed to be launched from multiple platforms including surface ships, land vehicles, and even submarines. The missile has multiple variants and sub-variants with different capabilities, including a land attack variant known as the Standoff Land Attack Missile, or SLAM, but we'll be talking about the more modern anti-ship ones. Pushing this missile is a Teledyne turbojet engine, giving it a speed of more than 500 knots. To assist in launching it from surface vessels, land batteries, and submarines, it contains a booster that burns for approximately 3 seconds, then separates from the main body. The active radar seeker provided by Texas Instruments, now merged with Raytheon, is a PR-53 DSQ-28, making this missile capable of homing in on targets on its own. So basically fire and forget. More than likely this has been upgraded on other variants. The missile knows where it is at all times with its GPS guidance receiver for more waypoint following and accuracy, but if the satellites go down somehow, it can use inertial navigation or INS. The newer RGM-84G has a data link for quick retargeting from different platforms. The warhead of this missile is a 488-pound delayed penetrating high explosive fragmentation warhead. Now, depending on the crew's damage control training and where it hit the ship, with a warhead this size, one missile won't outright sink a large naval vessel like an aircraft carrier or cruiser. It would just damage it enough so maybe it won't complete its mission. You would really want to launch these in salvos. With its small design compared with larger Russian anti-ship missiles, it makes it a lot tougher to detect on radar until the last minute or less. So, now that we've talked a little bit about the missile, let's look at some basic operations of the Harpoon. During normal launch operations, the missile's radar is off. Depending on the distance, this is not to alert the enemy, if they have some sort of airborne reconnaissance asset carrying radar hunting equipment. The operator will enter a waypoint for the missile to follow. This is called a bearing-only launch, or BOL. But it can be launched with the assistance of a radar from its launch platform. They would then enter a range that the radar should turn itself on. Once the missile is launched, it enters its navigational phase of flight. Depending on what the operator set, the missile can skim the sea at a very low altitude, but it can be set at a higher preset altitude depending on the variant. Aided by its GPS receiver and INS, the missile will follow its waypoint to its second phase of flight. At its second phase of flight, it activates its radar. Once the radar is active, it will alert an enemy vessel if it has a radar warning receiver. It may not have locked onto the ship, but the radar emissions from the seeker can still be detected. Commonly, ships keep their radar warning receivers at the very top of their masts for more over-the-horizon situational awareness. Once the active radar in the missile sees its target, its guidance system kicks in, steering it towards it, calculating its speed and any maneuver it makes. If the missile was at a higher altitude, it would drop down to sea skimming height. At its final stages before impact, the missile will initiate a pop-up maneuver to throw off any point defense weapons like a Sea Whiz, but it can sea skim all the way to the target. The pop-up mode performs a high G pop-up and dive down on the ship. This mostly damages the superstructure. The sea skim mode is for more damage below the waterline. Say the missile missed. Fear not. The missile, depending on the variant, can initiate its re-attack protocol for another pass at the ship, or maybe another enemy vessel nearby. Now, say there was no enemy vessel at all. If the Harpoon missile fails to find its target, it will self-destruct with the preset self-destruct range to not harm any non-combatant ships. The missile has a casualty launch mode, meaning if its primary launching computer on the ship has been damaged or destroyed, it can launch it manually. Doing this only launches it in one direction and instantly activates the radar, so it's best not to do this while a friendly ship is nearby. If the operator wanted the missile's seeker to have more coverage, it can perform a zigzag pattern if the ship may be out of view of the missile seeker. If the target vessel is jamming the missile with ECM, the Harpoon missile can switch its radar from active to passive and home in on the jamming source until its seeker is strong enough to burn through the jammer, and then lock onto the ship. The Harpoon missile has seen action around the world, such as Operation Praying Mantis, where an Iranian warship fired one at a US warship. It countered it and fired many back at the Iranian warship. Many people believe that this missile is obsolete, but with the sinking of the Russian warship Moskva with Ukraine's own version of the Harpoon, I think it's still got a role to play with various militaries around the world. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, help the channel grow by liking, subscribing, and commenting about what your favorite anti-ship missile is, and if you think the Harpoon is obsolete or not. And if you didn't like it, dislike it. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.